Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we build products in public. Each week, we'll give an honest peek into our lives as we share our struggles, our wins, and everything in between. I'm Benedict, and I'm feeling happy.
I'm Benedicta. Today is November 1st. This is episode number 158, and I'm feeling crap.
That's like we are on the opposite side of the spectrum, I guess.
Yeah. Like, why are you so happy? It's getting dark. You're usually not happy. Like get down here with me. Get down here with me.
Okay, the truth is I'm actually pretty tired today as well because I didn't sleep well and my back hurts.
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened in a long time, so that's not nice, but
thank you for going down here with me into the dark fall spirit.
Yes, totally. But I'm quite happy because for like the first time in, I don't know, forever, we managed to decide on a feature we want to build and ship it within a week.
Yay! Wow, how fun. What feature was that?
Basically, one thing that has been coming up a lot in the past, or basically since day one, is having people asking for layered unsubscribe. So basically having multiple categories of emails you can subscribe or unsubscribe from. And I always assumed this would be complicated to build, and like, I don't know. I imagined it would be hard, but last week someone requested it again, and they were more like, yeah, this would be nice to be able to do in the future, and I don't know. And it was like, okay, let's think about this again. And it turned out it wasn't that hard. We had a working implementation after basically a day. And we've been polishing it for the rest of the week and deployed it behind the feature flag today, and we'll probably roll it out tomorrow or something like that. So,
cool.
Exciting. But what about you? Why are you feeling like crap?
I know it's been fail week. I guess it's spooky Halloween or something. First, my laptop battery has been like going down, and then finally I was like, okay, I cannot go traveling and doing conferences with the laptop, which has a battery life of none. So we managed to go and get that replaced, and the battery is doing well, but the computer itself is like, I get the spinning colored wheel of death like every now and then. Especially, but I'm wondering if it's the internet connection, because it's when I'm using Descript and Grammarly, and they kind of want to be on the internet all the time. So there's like, and then they say like unstable internet connection. I'm like, really though? So I don't know, something is up, and maybe it's got something to do with like the internet thingy in the laptop. I'm not that good with hardware. And then I think it was yesterday morning, and obviously, of course, this is like, it's a stressful week because I'm leaving for Jamstack on Friday or night, like 6 a.m. Friday. So there's a lot of things to get done, and I was feeling a little overwhelmed, but I looked at the week and I was like, oh, this is, it's manageable. Like, it's going to be a lot. But as I said, I do enjoy a crunch week, and you make decisions fast because you kind of just got to get stuff out there instead of like second guessing yourselves and stuff. But then things are just falling apart. So my phone, I woke up yesterday and it was like dead. And I was like, okay, this is not fun, because between my mom and Lillian, like, I've actually need to be able to receive calls, because I get calls from like, her school and my mom's like day center thing. And so I was like, okay, this doesn't work for me. Luckily though, I managed to get to one of these like doctor phone. And it turned out it was the screen finally failing on me, because it's also been failing for a while. Not the actual phone. So now I have a new screen and a new backing, so it looks like a new phone. So that's okay. Then I tried to publish Prune Your Follows on like Netlify and Gatsby Cloud. Kept on failing because Fetch does not exist in like Node version 16, but I was trying to run it on Node version 18, and I don't know if these providers are doing the like non-experimental version, because then there is no Fetch. So that took me a while to, it's like, it's working locally. Like, why is that's not working. And then I've been kind of having
why is a production environment not running the experimental version? That doesn't make any sense, does it?
No, but like everybody assumes Fetch to work with version 18 now, right? So I don't like anyway, and then I figured that out. And then I've been having a headache like on and off, probably because I'm overwhelmed and anxious, and also it's this time of the month. So I logged into my SAS, which I'm like quietly not talking so much about these days, but I was logging in to log, and Chrome was giving me, this might be a phishing site. So like, that like red screen where it's like, do not enter this site. Like if you want to, you can click this link or like disable. And I'm like, what the F? Went into my search console, and they've actually flagged POW then as a fish or a socially engineering site that tries to get personal information off you. And I'm like, yes, that's
actually the
premise. Because we're encrypting it, not like these other people. And I have this was just a couple of hours ago. I have no idea what to do about that. I kind of asked for them for a review saying like, this is the point of the site. Then somebody told me an email of mine was flagged. I think it's unrelated. And I think maybe it isn't as bad as I thought, but I had replied to SavvyCal a paid SavvyCal invite, and then I replied to that, and I think maybe because it's like asking for payment information or like has that pay because it was a paid SavvyCal, I think maybe it's flagged because it's asking for payment information. Because when I went into kind of my own workspace, I saw that all after the fact they have marked a lot of mule stickers because I've been buying stickers that I hope will arrive at the hotel before JamstackConf. But anyway, all of their emails that were like talking about payment were also flagged. So I'm thinking those are not related, but this got me started on things that you know something about. So what do I need to do to make sure I am not getting into trouble in the future?
Yeah, like who knows if this helps, but one thing I learned over the last couple of over the last couple of years, was that it's super easy for people to just impersonate your email address or just use your domain and pretend they're sending from it. And in a way, I don't know, like if it's not like your business or something, it's probably not that big of a deal because I don't know, no one would expect like I don't know, password reset links from a personal email address. But if it's like your company domain, it totally makes sense to lock that down as much as possible in terms of what people can do with that domain, because by default all emails are basically unprotected and you can just impersonate whatever email address you want.
But I've done all of the with ConvertKit or Userlist, like you do the verify domain and you add the little TXT thing in there or whatever it is to make sure that it's a verified domain. But is that just for them to make sure that you are who you're saying? You're not locking anything down with that, I guess then.
Correct. Yeah. Like, I mean, it depends a
silly
little bit
me.
on the receiving. It depends a little bit on the receiving side of things. I mean, that's always the case, I guess. But you can do additional measures to basically tell mail servers, that at least the ones that respect the DMARC, and I have no idea what DMARC stands for, to be honest. The DMARC specification that basically everything that doesn't get verified by DKIM and SPF, like the default security mechanisms of email, that you can either quarantine them, so put them in spam, or just plain out reject. And that's the best way to make sure nobody's impersonating you or one of your email addresses. And a good way to get this started and get a good idea of what's actually happening is Postmark's DMARC reports tool.
Yes, I have now signed up all my domains. It's going to be expensive.
You didn't use the free version?
I went for the 14. Version. I went for the 14-day trial because I was having a hard time adding, because I needed to add. I wanted to add all of our main, at least usepow.com or .app. I mean, and then also lilylabs.no, which is our kind of main email But that is actually an alias for lilyapps.no, because in the olden days, you couldn't change primary domain on Gmail or in Google Workspace or Google Apps for Small Businesses, which it was called. So we ended up just have that in there. But now I can change. I just haven't had the time to do it, and it's been working fine. So anyway, I added all 3 of those. I'm waiting for my first reports.
Yeah, I think it takes a week. At least with the free version, it takes a week.
Well, I now have the paid version. It says 24 hours. It says.
Ah, nice. Okay. And it's a good way to see who's sending on your behalf, and then you can basically look at those lists and be like, okay, I know this because this is my, I don't know, Gmail account, or this is my user list account. And then if you see like more than that, you can start questioning what is going on and if there's a problem. And it's like the process basically like this. You start setting up the monitoring, then take every week or every day or whatever, take a hard look at that list. If you missed something in terms of like domain keys, like verification and stuff, you set that up. And once you're sure that you've covered everything that needs to work, you start locking down the DMARC policy. So at some point you just reject all emails. That's what we have been what we have set up for user list these days. Like everything that doesn't, like that's not verified by the signature and stuff like that, just gets rejected. So no one can ever impersonate.
How do I do this like lockdown then? Because it seems scary. Like, how do I know who's? I mean, because I get my Gmail or my Google Workplace, I guess. Like, how do I identify them, and how do I identify, like user lists? Like, how do I say those are okay? Is it per like IP address, or how is this done?
Yeah, like you have to set up DKIM keys for all of these. So you probably already set that up for user list because you can't add a custom domain without doing it. But you can also do it on Gmail and all the other providers. You just like make sure that you get the keys for all of them, add them on the DNS level on your domain, add them as a text record.
Okay, and so you do that for
is in place.
So you create a public-private key. So like encryption, like I have in my app. So you do that for every service that you want to use, so that to make sure that they are who they say they are, and it's coming from them.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the idea with DKIM is, as you said, like public-private key encryption. So the sender has a private key which they use to sign the emails sent on your behalf, and they give you a public key that you can then add to your domain, and then the receiving mail servers will look at the sending domain, look at the DNS record, get the public key, and use that to verify the signature and see if it matches the sender or not. And if it matches, then it's a legitimate email. And if it doesn't match it, it will follow the DMARC policy that you've configured in another DNS record. So if you say like, please quarantine everything that doesn't match, it will move it to spam. If you say reject, it will reject it. And if you leave it at default, it will do whatever it thinks it's the right thing to do, I guess.
I'm going to be rejecting all of the... No, I did clean up in my DNS settings, at least, because I tested several, providers. At least I removed like verification TXTs that were in there for services that I'm no longer using. And like my first instinct was that a couple of weeks ago, my domain registrar was hacked. So I was like, oh, maybe things have been added to the site, or maybe somebody had changed my settings. But luckily I do think it was only encrypted passwords that were leaked in that hack, and I had only used my password in one place because I use 1Password. And as soon as I was able to get into the service again, I changed my password. But I actually went through all the domains, and that's when I like deleted unneeded stuff as well, and nothing was added. I headed over to Netlify to see if somebody had like hacked in there and added, because kind of what they're hinting at with the security warning is that somebody is like adding a script that shouldn't be there. And Netlify, you can add, you can inject scripts if you want to. So I headed into Netlify to make sure that nobody has like impersonated me there and added scripts in the account, like if they had gotten hold of my password for some reason. But like nothing like that had happened. So I think with the usepow.app ban, I think that it's more of the contents of the site, or that somebody has flagged it, or that the backend that I'm using, Userbase, has been flagged for some reason, because somebody can have used that service for fraudulent reasons and then been flagged or something like that. So this is fun. But thank you for the walkthrough on what to do with my emails, because I have no admin. It's not like I don't have any admin to do. So I'll just be updating all of my domains with public-private keys, because that's a joy.
Yeah,
it's all I
totally
want in life.
Great. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it takes a while to set it up and monitor it so you don't actually accidentally screw it up. But like one last tip. For all, like basically for all domains that you're not using, just set a DMARC policy that rejects everything. So just to be safe, if you're not planning to send any email from it, just block it.
Well, that is smart, because like with Prune Your Follows, which is, hopefully deploying tomorrow, when we're going to deploy it on stream together with, because SATA is launching tomorrow, so we will also be deploying Prune Your Follows
nice.
on stream. And stream is going to be, well, you don't know what day we are recording this, dear listener, but we are changing up the streaming time a little bit because of Jamstack.conf, and then it actually fell on the day that SATA is launching, so that's fun. But yeah, so for that, for instance, I should just like mark it, like lock it down, because what we were thinking was that maybe somebody's spamming from usepow.app, like sending emails from that domain on my behalf, like without me knowing, and then that ending in a ban on the domain itself. It seems like maybe that's not what have happened, but like that's a scenario that probably could happen as well. So for then Prune Your Follows, for instance, I'll just lock it down, because I don't think I'll be sending emails from that domain, at least not for a while. And in that case, I could open it for like one provider instead of instead of but oh boy, what a week. Just
sounds like fun. Yeah.
It's just, and I think, luckily, well, they say that the refrigerator is going to be delivered tomorrow, because the refrigerator has also started acting up. Like, it's not as cold as it's supposed to. It's like, it feels like we ordered a new refrigerator.
Yeah.
So I really hope that it knows. And then the fireplace people postpone. So that's not happening until while I'm in San Francisco. So I'm really hoping they don't postpone again, because we got like half the neighborhood over here to like carry the oven in. So it's, what a week. But anything more fun happening on your end, though? You who are so happy.
Just a couple small things. Leo's still working on the message editor, or message composer is the official word now. Basically doing a lot of refactoring, and it's nice to see that now that we understand all the concepts, at least for the most part, we can delete a lot of code and a lot of things fall into place. And what used to be a little bit of a mess is becoming cleaner and cleaner by the week. And with every refactoring we do, it's so much nicer. And we're at the point where we're removing refactorings we did like 2 weeks ago, because we came up with an even simpler solution. So that's kind of nice. And then the other thing that's been exciting around here, or well, let's see how it goes. We had some trouble with our 4G internet connection lately, and maybe some listeners remember from a couple of weeks ago where I complained that recording was a little bit hard. So I signed up with another provider, which I honestly didn't want to do because they don't have a good reputation, but it's the only other option. And they stayed true to their brand, and it took like 3 weeks until they got a technician over to do some stuff. But a guy was here yesterday, and things are looking good. It seems like I might be getting 1 gigabits of downstream soonish. And that made me realize that actually my home network is way too slow for this. So I did a speed test, and it was basically telling me I get like 10% of the speed. But if I do the speed test from the router itself, it says like it's 1 gig. So something between my computer and the router is actually slowing things down, which
maybe I
wasn't
need
a
to do a
problem
little
for the
check.
last 20 years.
Yeah, maybe I need to do some check like that too. Like maybe that's why I'm getting this, like internet connectivity issues. Maybe it's not the laptop. Maybe it's some other hardware.
Yeah.
But,
and I did some searching today, and it turns out it was a lot of old cables. Like a lot of my wiring in here is basically a collection of CAT cables from the last 15 years or so. And not all of them support like super high speeds, which hasn't been a problem because the internet used to be super slow. But now that the internet is fast, you kind of want it to be fast to your desk.
All the way.
Yes.
Funny story, just quick, totally changing the subject, but it's Halloween week. And I think a couple of days before Halloween, I tweeted that there are like 2 things that I might fully embrace by the end of by this time next year: Tailwind and Halloween. Because for the Americans listening, Halloween was not a thing, at least not in Northern Europe, until it was imported by, commerce to sell lots of stuff around Halloween. So I've been kind of like not wanting to accept this new tradition, but then I had a child and she is 7, and she has slowly worn me down. So like this year I was like, okay, let's embrace, like, we'll have a friend over. We'll do some like scary decorations. We made some scary food and all of that. And at the same time, I've been slowly converting my queen.ray.code site to Tailwind because I wanted to just have more like, at some point it's going to be like more of like a crazy whimsical, not crazy, but like more of a whimsical vibe to it. So I needed something that was less restrictive than using like a full UI framework. So, and both of things, it's been like this, like sometimes I jump on really fast. I'm like, I love testing out new stuff, but somehow Halloween and Tailwind have been like the 2 things everybody tells me are great. And I'm like, yeah. And then Tailwind, or Adam of Tailwind, Vadanen, something like that. He tweeted that Tailwind was actually released on Halloween, which made my tweet a lot more fun, at least I thought. And I think it was like around, he said like 5 years ago. And I think when Lillian was like 2 and like almost 3, I guess then, 5 years ago, that's when she like really started understanding what Halloween was. So they've actually been on the same time schedule. Like the Tailwind fans and the Halloween fans, aka my daughter and some neighborhood moms, have like slowly worn me down. And I would say I'm like 80% there. But then by this time next year, I'll be probably throwing a Halloween themed Tailwind party, or a Tailwind Halloween party.
Tailwind themed Halloween party. Yeah, makes sense.
So I just thought that was funny how I was just like slowly kind of, accepting these things. So do you guys use Tailwind for user list, or is it all homegrown CSS?
It's homegrown CSS. And I'm not saying that Tailwind isn't good or anything. It just isn't for me, I guess.
Mm-hmm. See, that's exactly the same thing I felt for Halloween and Tailwind.
Yeah. I don't know. It's still to be converted, I guess. I mean, and I respect like Adam's work a lot. Like, while I'm not using Tailwind, I certainly learned a thing or two from how Adam and the Tailwind team is doing stuff and what they are doing with CSS. So credits to them, I guess. But I don't know. I feel like I've struggled with CSS long enough to have it somewhat figured out in a way that works for me. And I don't really see the need to change it. So yeah, That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, that's where I was a couple of weeks, and I was like, I'm gonna just try it for queen.ray.codes. And I think where it, I'm still slow because I then have to look up things that I did know how to do in CSS, but I don't know the utility class in Tailwind. But when I got to use Outline, which is one of their utility classes, I was like, wow, because it lets you add like a border around the border. And I think they use like text shadow or something under the hood. But like, I don't know if you tried to create text shadows that are like solid. Like, I never remember that kind of stuff. But now you can just do like border red and then outline blue and you get 2 borders. And I'm like, okay, this is going to save me some time. Yes, I get it now. And I think there are more things like that. But for me, it seems like outline has been the gateway drug to Tailwind acceptance.
So did you ever use the outline CSS property then?
Yes. Oh, I mean, maybe outline uses because they have like 3, maybe outline uses the outline property. No, because you can offset it. And I don't think you can offset the native CSS outline.
I think you can, but whatever.
Well, maybe they use that under the hood. And then there's the other one but anyway, like I was just like, oh, this is good. Like,
and I mean, that's one thing that I like about Tailwind is just like their documentation is so good that you learn about CSS features just by reading the Tailwind documentation.
Exactly. Yeah. So maybe they use that under the hood, but I think one of them they use like border shadow. No, probably. I mean not text shadows under the hood.
Box shadow.
Yeah. So anyway, I've been enjoying that. And last for me, which is actually happy news, everyone. There are some happy news this week. I got an email that or an alert from SavvyCal that somebody had bought and paid for a Gatsby emergency call. And I headed in, yes. And I headed into, I had a little look. That person signed up for my list in July and have been opening almost all the emails. Even though on the call, he told me there was a little too much of them because they come almost every day. But he ended up buying an emergency call.
They did the trick, right?
Yes.
You were top on his mind.
Top of his mind. So I feel like I don't know, like it's once or twice I think I've sold the emergency call, but it seems in a way that I have a funnel that is working. So now I just need to get more people into the funnel. I did some stuff for that. Like I did webinars and stuff in the beginning, and then I kind of stopped, and I only think I have like, a little over 100 people on the list, which is almost no one. So yeah, I feel like that's going to be my next step here is like trying to get more people into that funnel and just keeping up. Because now I'm at the year mark almost, and I know myself, I want to do something else now. Like we're not doing that. We're
sticking to it.
I'm going to stick to it and just keep on being the Queen of Gatsby and not do something else.
Maybe then the something else you're doing is like focusing more on top of the funnel marketing activities. That's something else.
Exactly. So now that everything is working, I can, do more of those kinds of little fun projects to get people signing up for the main list. And then just keep on doing the daily and doing it. Because now I'm like, oh, maybe I should do weekly recap instead. Or maybe because I want to change things up. But no, not allowed. So if you hear me changing things or see me changing things, you are allowed to send me, screaming
an angry
DMs
email.
or DMs, because my emails are probably going to be all messed up. Anyway.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, send DMs.
Send me. Let's rely on Twitter instead. Yeah.
Oh, sounds like a good idea these days. Rely on
Great
Twitter.
idea. It's going to be super fun.
We're getting all dark again.
Yes, I think that's all. But, I wanted to end on a happy note. I sold something.
Awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. Anything more from you? Did you sell any useless subscriptions this month?
Yes, we did. I don't know the exact number, but MRR is slowly but steadily increasing.
Great.
Yes. Well, I guess that's it for this week.
Yeah.
Are we missing next week or are we recording next week? I'm not entirely sure.
We are recording next week. It's going to be early morning, the day after my Jamstack Conf talk. So we'll see if fail week is over, or as I hope,
better is.
Like, yeah, I hope it's over. I hope like this is like everything that could go wrong has already gone wrong, so that I get on stage in San Francisco in front of I don't even know how many people and do not fail. That would be great. So
yes.
I'll
Do cloud
sacrifice-
backups of your talk though. Like send your PDF somewhere.
So I'm actually not allowed to present from my laptop, so that will remove some of that possible failure.
That's good. Yeah.
Yes. So, until then, see you around the interwebs.
See you. Bye.